Hey, this is Nolan North, Nathan Drake from Uncharted, and you're listening to Raw Dogs. And why wouldn't you be? It's the best. Sic Parvis Magna.
They just didn't want their toy to played with by someone else. They loved it when he showed up in Mandalorian season 2, and that makes no goddamn sense as far as the character is concerned. But they don't want their toys played with by people they don't like.
Speaking of toys here, welcome everyone to Raw Dogs. This is episode number 35. We are a podcast about video games that goes deep. We discuss topics ranging from the rise and fall of BioWare to the economic implications of a robotic society in the Mega Man universe. Special thanks to our Patreon producers such as Judge Tempest, Tyler Keller, and Killer Kip the Killmeister. We are part of the Greenlit Podcast Network, so make sure to check out some of the other amazing content on greenlitpodcast.com. I'm, of course, Brad. You recognize me as the bearded one if you have seen me before. Otherwise, I just sound bearded, apparently. And we have Dylan. Do you want to say anything about yourself?
Now, I used to be Big Tex, but I'm thinking of calling myself the Quinine Cowboy because I really like gin.
What's quinine?
It's an ingredient in gin. It's kind of the thing that gives you the weird burny feeling.
Isn't that an ingredient in tonic, not the gin?
Well, I mean, gin and tonics.
That's it. Quinine is an ingredient in tonic.
Speaking of juniper, Tom, would you like to say hi?
Hi, my name is Tom. I'm sometimes raw, sometimes not.
Sometimes raw, sometimes dog.
Sometimes a dog. But I'm grateful to be here with you tonight to talk about toys. Because they're like my favorite thing. With. As long as they're kept in the box.
We'll talk about Tom's not playing with toys here in a second. We're joined by a very special guest. Jack, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Jack Packard. I just ate 525 calories worth of ice cream.
Congratulations, sir.
Did you count that out yourself?
I do. I have an app.
It's good.
All right.
That's how I know so many things about quinine. Or I used to drink a lot of gin and tonics.
No, that might be true too.
And you read that tonic bottle because that's all you got.
It's like reading a video game manual on the way home. I wanted to see someone's response when I'm reading a PlayStation 1 manual in the car while driving. But Jack, you were saying you're a semi-professional video game enjoyer?
That's true. I talk a lot about video games over at escapistmagazine.com. I'm either live or have a show almost every day over there. I do a podcast now with Yahtzee over at Zero Punctuation where we talk about video games. Super fun. I have a show with our editor-in-chief, Nick Calandra, where we just talk about whatever we feel like. We live stream. Oh, we do so many fun video game things there over at escapistmagazine.com.
Check it out.
Well, before we start, I did want to say that I've watched every episode of Slightly Civil War over on Escapist. I love your content, guys. You guys are fantastic together.
Thank you. We genuinely enjoy each other's company, which is rare. And we had talked a little bit beforehand. He is in general a fan of Red Letter Media, and myself and Rich have been a fan of Yahtzee since he put out his first review on YouTube. Yeah. So we had chatted a little bit beforehand, just kind of, Twitter DMs and whatnot. But now that we get to talk regularly, I feel like we genuinely enjoy each other's company.
Wow.
And the moment that you said that Jack was going to be on the podcast, I'm like, it's always weird when I fucking know the people a little. It's not like he's my hero, but it's also like you get these parasocial relationships.
Dylan, we're starting to become a real podcast.
I don't appreciate the thought of that, and I'm just going to, yoink.
Well, Jack, I've been a fan of yours for a long time. I first started following your content on Red Letter Media, and then I watched way too much of you and Rich Evans playing Friday the 13th on Previously Recorded.
What a beautiful game.
I watched you play that for probably 20 hours, and I only played it for like a half an hour myself, which was great. Been a fan of yours for a long time, so thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here. Happy to talk about toys, Nintendo, all that.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
so good.
We're going to continue the Nintendo love that's been going on this month and discuss Nintendo's strange toy box. So everybody knows Nintendo is kind of an outlier. They like to do things a little differently. They like to push the envelope, and a lot of people are familiar with some of their more bizarre inventions, but I thought it might be fun to discuss some of the odd things in the toy box for this particular episode. Including remote control vacuum cleaners. But before they made vacuum cleaners, they were helping the Yakuza out. Tom, could you talk a little bit about Nintendo's very early inception?
They were a company founded in the 1800s.
1899. Yeah, well, I mean, technically the 1800s, but yeah, just by an inch.
Well, I didn't realize, so they started off as a playing card company.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't just, they started out as that, but they had made other stuff too.
Well, not for a while. They were just making Hanafuda cards for the Yakuza for quite a while.
I can't imagine. I just taught myself Hanafuda by the 51 games package or bundle on the Nintendo Switch. It's a very confusing game. Still not sure if I'm playing it right, but I love it because it's got little nice pieces of artwork.
Sure.
If you would have told me that they made Hanafuda cards, I would imagine that you were making up words and lying to me, because Hanafuda sounds like made up words.
Sounds delicious.
Well, actually, Brad, as he picked up his PSVR today from my place, he dropped off a package of Nintendo Hanafuda cards.
Ooh.
Are they normally that small?
No.
I don't know. I was surprised at how small they were, but they're like little plastic cards, and they don't have letters or numbers or anything, but just beautiful Japanese illustrations of Mario and bullet bills and stuff.
Aw, that's great.
Yeah.
He's dressed like Napoleon.
Well, yeah, because originally Napoleon was their best-selling Hanafuda cards back in the day.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. Yep.
They also made nude lady cards, which I wish I could to get my hands on a copy of those.
Princess Peach, baby.
Oh, man.
Years before Bowsette.
So you could finally replace that dirty pen where you click in and the bra comes off?
Nintendo might have one of those. Bowser taking off his shell or something.
Ooh.
So they were mainly making playing cards for quite a while, but many sex hotels, taxi companies, noodle soups, baby swings, and photocopiers happened, but they did eventually start making toys. They made some pretty bizarre things. Did you guys have a chance to look through any of them?
A few, but where it really pops off is the 1950s, is when they get a lot of licenses. I was going to say that they made a lot of Disney crap.
You're right, the Disney cards happened.
Yeah, which were just the worst, dumbest trading cards, which really makes me think less of my grandparents. It's just you found this entertaining?
Right, they had that in a pile of dirt. Come on.
Well, and then you see the outfits that they used to wear for Halloween or those costumes. It's things were different back then, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I get it. It's fine.
It's all nightmare fuel.
It's all in the Peanuts comic strip, I tell you.
Nintendo was literally making a racetrack for weighted beans that had variable movement.
Yeah, what the fuck was that all about? It was just a chute that you put beans on and tilted it.
It's like Plinko.
It's kind of like Plinko. That the beans have a little weightedness to it, so they kind of move like slinkies.
Yeah.
Lord, I mean, Nintendo was making it. They didn't do much. They made a few other race tracks. They made their first electronic toy in 1965, but there's a name that I've heard associated with Nintendo for a long time, but until recently, a week ago, I didn't realize how important Gunpei Yokoi is.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, yeah, he got first noticed for making a grabber toy, which I now associate with my grandmother, whose bones fused together and couldn't bend over to pick anything up.
So she was using the Ultra Hand?
Yeah, she was using the equivalent of it in like the year 1999. But it's just like, I was just like, oh, it's like grandma's literal prosthetic.
You just had a little pair of grandma hands at the end of it?
I mean, kind of like it's how she picked up her pack of cigarettes because she couldn't bend down to get them.
There's got to be a fetish out there for that.
It's called dragon slang. You know, like if you go for moms, it's cougar hunting. If you go for grandmas, it's dragon slang.
Oh, man.
They're sitting on top of the coins in their den.
Oh, hell yeah.
Answer 3 riddles there, Bradley.
Get me in your horde, grandma.
Rub my bunion, baby.
Gunpei Yokoi. I knew that the dude had like invented the design for the Game Boy and done a few other things, but Nintendo was just kind of dabbling with toys and they weren't super successful. But Gunpei was fucking around while he was supposed to be fixing a Hanafuda machine, and he made just like at work the Ultra Hand, and like the grandson of the founder of Nintendo, who, Tom, I think you have some stronger feelings about that guy.
Was that Hiroshi Yamauchi?
Yeah.
Yeah. He kind of ruled Nintendo with an iron fist. Was not a very pleasant man. He's the... I don't know if this was ever founded as a rumor or not, but I think the story goes that when the Wii U came out, he told Satoru Iwata at the time that if the Wii U was not a success, that he should kill himself, and that was his son-in-law. So
I didn't know Iwata was his son-in-law.
They're all son-in-laws. It's literally just a family.
I know, yeah. Minoru Arakawa, when they started Nintendo in the U.S., he was a son-in-law. But there was some relation there. But
in Japan, when you become a son-in-law, you technically become an adopted part of the family. It's a very strange cultural thing to us where we're all kind of individualistic, but there it's like, all right, now you're finally a part of this family. What are you going to do for it?
If you don't do good, you should kill yourself.
Apparently.
Yeah. And he was on his deathbed at the time. So,
whatever.
But dude, Gunpei, like the Ultra Hand was so successful. Like they immediately ordered 1 million of them to be made before Holiday Rush, and it sold like gangbusters. I guess one of the stipulations was Nintendo sells games. Like they were doing a lot of board games at the time too, so they had to take the Ultra Hand and just make it so it could, like, you put a ball up on a thing, you had to try and grab the ball. So they had to make it into a game somehow.
Okay,
sure.
It doesn't involve saving a princess, but I guess it qualifies.
I mean, what else did you have at that point? Like, a lot of that stuff was so inaccessible to most of the market.
Well, a grandma got her hands on it, and she was able to change her life.
Think about that. She got her cigarettes.
No, the kid who had the Ultra Hand was tired of grabbing the cigarette, so he gave the Ultra Hand to Grandma.
God damn it, Grandma used this.
And I used it ever since. Sorry.
Thanks, Nintendo. It's so wild looking at some of these old things and seeing Nintendo logos slapped on them.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. There was a pitching machine with a little plastic bat. Very funny, by the way. I want one.
Good for indoor usage.
Honestly, like, I mean, baseball has always been popular in Japan anyway, but like to capitalize on that with such simple mechanics. It's a very simple motor within that machine.
I think what's really amazing about like their early days, like here in the 60s and 70s, is just how scattershot they were. Like, you know, they hadn't focused in on anything. We got grabbers, we got Nintendo, we got Lego knockoffs, we got guns. Everybody likes guns. We got a baseball thing. The kids, they didn't have a unifying vision yet, which I think
they were just throwing things against the wall. You know, basically just putting up a card table on a street corner and, you know, hey, look what, like you said, want to watch? Well, I got watches.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what they were doing wasn't like they weren't the first ones to do a lot of these things, but they did copy a lot before they kind of found their identity. Yeah. Jack, you mentioned their little Lego blocks, and it's funny, they call them NNB blocks, Nintendo blocks. And well, it's one of those things too where the dimensions identically like allow Legos and them to be used interchangeably.
Like Mega Blocks. You remember Mega Blocks, right?
They're still around.
It's funny to like that they were able They were sued, but they were able to get around it because they have a few like rounder pieces.
Right. Better lawyers.
Well, I think since Nintendo is now working with Lego, it'd be fun for them to take some of their old Nintendo Lego block designs and re-release them or something. I'd be totally down for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If they were any good, I saw a few pictures.
Now they just
You weren't impressed.
partner up.
No,
with Lego.
I was definitely not impressed.
Jack, you also mentioned that they were like making like light guns and stuff like that. The picture for their first commercially available light gun is a fucking kid with a sniper rifle.
Oh, it's like that. It's like Stephen King Nightmare Fuel. Like that's the poster for a creepy horror movie. Little Timmy got a bad grade. Little Timmy's not taking that lying down.
They sent little Timmy to the Vietnam War.
I'm getting like the television talking through like an old Famicom or something like that, possessing children.
That's actually not bad.
Play with me.
Like Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah. Play with me. Play with me. Kill your parents. Right. Play with me. Play with. Yeah.
What did the screen just say? Nothing, Mom.
It's like the new Teddy Ruxpin.
Don't you fucking talk shit about Teddy Ruxpin, man.
I mean, after this is literally when things start going into the video game market, though.
Yeah.
Nintendo shifts their focus away from being a toy company who kind of makes bits and baubles and actually starts going into production of things to occupy people's times.
I mean, they realized that kids didn't want to play with remote-controlled mini vacuum battery-operated machines.
Clean the house for free.
Although moms were probably very sold. Moms were like, hey, look at this. It's a toy. It's a fucking Roomba with a joypad.
Yeah. Go scrub the floor, buddy.
I think my mom tried that with me. It's why I'm such a clean freak, but who knows? That's my issue. But Gunpei, would go on to develop the Game & Watch. And I'm a huge fan of the Game & Watch, not because I owned one, but because they released Game & Watch Gallery on the original Game Boy, and I had all 2 or 3 volumes of it, and I would just play them obsessively.
Yeah. Now, was the Game & Watch something that was commissioned by Nintendo for them, for Gunpei to create, or was that kind of like a Skunkworks project that he just created himself and brought to Nintendo?
I think he pitched it and he was given the ability to make it because the Game & Watch was essentially a little screen, but it was made for people who had to commute every day. So it had like a little clock in the corner too.
Oh yeah.
And it was constantly on. It was never off. Like there was no off button for any of these things. So you had to like look at that dumb little screen. And by all accounts, they were well made. It's just they were those weird LCD kind of shifting screens.
Oh, yeah.
There's even one that's got like a flip screen, which you can see the DS DNA in that a little bit.
A couple of them had that. Yeah, I had a Mario Cement Factory back in the day.
For anyone who isn't familiar with what the Game & Watch are, think of those like little $5 toys, those Tiger Electronic toys of like Street Fighter or Sonic the Hedgehog.
He's got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. It's basically like it's like a flip book. It's like 3 separate animations, and you can choose which stick figure, like, here he has both hands up, and then you press the left button and he moves to the left and he only has one hand up. You press the right, he only has the right hand up.
Sure.
And yeah, so it was just very simple games that you could control that would have a incredibly minimalistic gameplay loop.
Yeah.
Genius ideas.
Jack, did you ever dabble in the Game & Watch? Did you ever have any of those?
No, I never had a Game & Watch. I had a Game Boy, but I was far too cool for Game & Watches.
I mean, come on. How about Tiger Electronics?
Yeah. I believe we had a Power Rangers one.
Nice.
That one was actually sick.
I think you had to fight Goldar at some point.
Yes.
Yes, I think I owned that.
Those are horrible. Yeah.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. I'm sure it was my little brothers, and so
you were just like, "What is this thing?" I don't know.
That's stupid. Can I just hold it for a while?
It's a game. I'll show you how to play it.
Yeah. You're playing Simon's Quest on your cool Nintendo? Well, I got it here, buddy. 3 frames of animation.
Which orb do you have to have equipped to see the wall?
Right.
Yeah, we know you asked for Sonic the Hedgehog, but here's the Tiger Electronics version.
Where's the tornado in LCD form?
Yeah. No, I admire the Game & Watch for what it was, and especially it was just built as a time waster, which is literally why the 3DS and the PSP were the most popular systems ever created in Japan.
Well, because of the Game & Watch, we have the modern day D-pad. That's where that originated from.
Another design by Gunpei Yokoi. The dude invented the D-pad. That blew my mind that I never knew.
Yeah,
that.
that's when Nintendo had the patent. I don't know if they said it, but, and everyone, all the other console makers would have to kind of alter theirs a little bit, when they came out. Like the Master System had the weird, it's a square, but it's still
has the bits
you could depress
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So wonky. I mean, I was pretty shocked, just seeing that original light gun design they did and then the duck hunt gun that they did back then. But the original NES Zapper for the Famicom could be used by Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
It came with a holster.
Which is incredibly badass.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like a little too realistic here.
They make the Famicom look like the jankiest little plastic toy, but they're like, how do we make the gun? It's like, well, let's make it real.
I think Japan has a very different gun culture than we have here in America.
Yeah, we're a little sensitive. We're sensitive in different ways about those, but yeah, American got the orange one for sure.
Yeah,
the orange tip.
probably for that.
Yeah, after a while.
I remember when I was in high school, I played airsoft for a while, and we had to paint the tips of our airsoft rifles orange.
Yeah, we were making some films at film school in the Twin Cities that had some realistic guns as props. And the cops came, and it was a fucking ordeal.
I absolutely believe that.
Turns out you need, permits and stuff.
Silly.
Yeah. We're in school, sir.
This is America.
Jack, have you ever used the fantastic piece of technology called Rob the Robot?
Not only have I never used it, I have never known anyone to use it. I can't believe... sometimes I don't believe it exists because... it was a very expensive thing, if I remember correctly, right?
Wasn't it?
I think it was packed in with the original Nintendo.
Yes. Yep, it came with the original.
The OG one, anyways.
Yep. With the Zapper, the pre-Super Mario Brothers Nintendo when it was released.
Well, I think the biggest problem with Rob is that it kind of sucked.
I don't know about that.
It was made with 2 games, and it was slow as shit.
Yeah, but this was the 80s.
Yeah,
dog.
same with you, Jack. I never knew anybody who had it as a kid. I would see commercials for it and whatnot, and I've only now, since we started to go into conventions, been seeing it, or used to, pre all this whatever nonsense. Been seeing it around, but. Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I thought, wow, this is cool, man. It looks like Johnny Five.
Well, this was a marketing design Trojan horse created by Gunpei. They were trying to reclassify the NES as a sophisticated toy experience and not just a video game. I found a great quote by the Milwaukee Journal. Jack, you're welcome, boy, as well.
Whoa.
They said, the key to the NES is the interactive robot. You no longer have to fight only the aliens on the screen. You have a robot to contend with as well.
You have to maintain this piece of plastic shit.
Which means I don't think the person actually used it because Rob was on your team, but...
This was 85, so is this right during the crash or right after the video game crash?
It was right after.
Video games still had this incredible stigma of they're worthless, they're cheap, the games suck, the games are repetitive, and so they're just trying to build back this momentum of no, video games can be good, we promise.
Right, or even this isn't a video game. Look, it's a toy. Yes. Buy this. They're not video games; they're game packs. Please buy this.
and that's probably what ended up saving it in the long run, because it was kind of like a Trojan horse for the entire idea. Whoa. It's just like, yeah, do you like this Rob, and you like a Duck Hunt? Oh shit,
Rob's a Trojan man.
Got Mario Brothers too.
What are we gonna do? We're gonna give the kids a robot and a gun.
Yeah.
Yes, that's perfect.
Put it in Sears.
I'm a 40-year-old man. That's all I want to know.
I actually have a theory. I have a theory on why it worked so well, and I really do, and I will stick with it. And
that Rob worked so well, or the concept?
The concept when it first came out, I think it's literally this idea where the parents would buy it for the kid in the age of the nuclear family, and they would buy it for their kid, but secretly the dad was like, yeah, that's pretty fucking cool. Like, I'm going to play Duck Hunt after the kid goes to sleep. I'm going to fuck around with the robot after I come home a bit too drunk from the bar. That had to be what, like, pushed it.
I will say my dad was probably worried about me playing too many video games, but he saw Duck Hunt and he's like, this might be something good for the kid.
Yeah. Right? My parents could never figure out how to turn it on, but I know there were nights where they're like, let's play that duck game.
Well, look at you now. You're engaged.
All because of thanks, Duck Hunt.
Mm-hmm. And you've got a big beard.
Thank you, Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt turned you into a real man.
Now I'm a man. Yeah. I went hunting for 2 years, and I started a video game podcast.
That's right. That dog's not laughing at you no more.
I'll be the officiant for your marriage, Brad, and I'll dress up like the Duck Hunt dog if you want.
Oh, man, I had other thoughts for you for the wedding, but I think you might have to, whatever it is, you're going to be dressed as the Duck Hunt dog.
I'll just laugh at you the whole time. So.
And Dylan will show up with a Nintendo Zapper and call off the wedding.
And I'll be like, nobody move.
Another Trojan horse of marketing had mixed results. Who's seen The Wizard?
I've seen The Wizard.
Yeah. Come on.
I'm the only one who hasn't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen The Wizard.
Jesus.
Bad.
Why are you even on a video game podcast? What is wrong with you?
Isn't that like the entry exam
Yeah.
to be on a video game podcast? Wow.
I wasn't given an exam, which is crazy.
Yeah, your grandfather did.
They heard what I had to say about Assassin's Creed, and they were just like, fine, say shit. I don't care.
I was surprised that Nintendo wasn't even involved in the design of the Power Glove.
I mean, it's a piece of crap.
It was something that they definitely wanted to look badass, though.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a piece of crap, but man, I wanted one so bad as a kid.
Oh,
you would have kept it in the box, and you would have looked at it, and you would have been like, man, I wish I could have worn this.
Well, again, with the whole being left-handed thing, they never made a left-hand version of the Power Glove.
You would have figured it
and
out.
I'm like, thank God, because I probably would have tried to buy it, but yeah.
Did it have a keypad on the side, too?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Have you guys used one?
Yes.
Use in quotes.
Yeah, no, you don't use a Power Glove. You put it on your hand, and then you try to use it, and it never works.
Exactly. I never got it to work right. I mean, you would have to enter like a code. Like every game had a code, and like you would have to. You could try playing Mario Brothers with it, where you would use the D-pad on it to move, and then flick your wrist to try to make him jump. I mean,
right.
You're watching The Wizard, and the guy's playing Rad Racer, like he's just psychonetically moving the car with his with
the
his
Wii
hand.
before the Wii.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was all garbage. Like all of the early Nintendo accessories. I'm thinking of the Power Glove and the running pad for the
Power
Olympics
Pad,
game.
baby.
The Power Pad. That's what it was called. And I remember we would try our damnedest to run on that pad. Like, oh yeah, look, it's like we're really exercising. Yes. And that thing too, it broke after the second time he used it. So you just go back to the controller.
Yeah, and I mean with the Power Pad, you tried, or at least little fat kids like us would try running on it for a little bit, and then it was like 5 minutes later we're down there playing bongos on the the Power Pad.
Yeah, exactly. I can't do it.
Sadly, it's kind of like a lot of Nintendo's weird functionality where you can play it with this fun, weird way or the normal way, which will be way more efficient.
Right. Yeah.
Lord knows I don't want to play Skyward Sword either way. but I would prefer without waggling my arm every 5 seconds.
Nobody needs that.
Well, now you can. Now you can do it through analog.
No, but it's weird. It's stick controls.
I really think this game is going to get a lot of people in, and everyone's going to be like, new Zelda game. But these are all people who bought a Switch like 8 months ago, and they're going to be like, this isn't like Breath of the Wild.
Jack, what's your hot take on Skyward Sword?
Unfortunately, it's not hot at all. It's a bad game.
Okay, you're welcome on the podcast anytime you want.
Right? It was like the biggest horseshit of all to be like, we're not going to show you a damn thing from Breath of the Wild 2. We're still working on it, maybe. But here to placate you, to hold you over, here's this game that nobody ever wanted or liked.
I heard a rumor today that they didn't want to interrupt Mario's 35th anniversary celebration, which ends this month, at the end of the month, and they want to hold off on a lot of the Zelda celebrating until later on. That's what I was reading in a lot of articles.
To kill the party.
Hold on. Were they afraid of offending Mario? He's not real.
You don't want to like be advertising against yourself a little bit, like.
It's just like Santa. We gotta give him some space.
Right.
Yeah.
I read a lot of articles about that today. I was surprised too, but they're saying insider sources are saying there's going to be a lot of new Zelda news and announcements coming soon.
I've heard through the grapevine. This might be breaking news on this.
Your uncle works at Nintendo?
Yeah.
Here it goes.
Since the HD remakes of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker already exist on the Wii U, that they're going to bundle them together and essentially send them out as one package.
Available for only 3 weeks before they're locked in the vault.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of irreplaceable things we love, well, it was 1990 that they made their first Happy Meal toy. I was able to get this guy at a thrift store, a little Mario guy that jumps with a little spring on him.
Was that one of the original ones?
This is one of the original ones from 1990, yeah.
Okay.
I looked it up. It's worth about $6, so that's cool.
So it's just like a jumping, spring-loaded Mario.
Yeah, I posted in the document. You can see some of the other ones. There's like a Goomba and a Paratroopa and a Luigi riding on a cloud, but Nintendo has done some cross promotions, including a recent one with Burger King. I got this Luigi guy.
Oh, shit.
Oh, look at him. He's catching
cute.
Ghosts.
But it arrived broken, which is a bummer.
Oh, man. Just
Turns out Happy Meal toys might not be the highest quality.
Yeah. Well, it's Luigi, so it's pretty fitting.
Everybody likes Luigi, man. Come on.
Do they?
Yeah, Luigi's the preferred brother.
He is the preferred brother, for sure.
For sure. He's the only brother that has any character.
And returning is the guy who looks like Bob Hoskins in Mario Brothers.
Hey, sorry.
Let's go back to the trailer.
My goal is to drink a gallon of water a day, and my body's not used to that. So here we are.
Water.
By the way, that's a smart goal. I applaud you for it. I will drink some water in
Video games and water, water and video games.
It has not been helpful to me. I can usually hold my bladder pretty well. However, you break the seal, it's all done.
Speaking of breaking the seal, did you guys know that the Super NES mouse could play Wolfenstein in 3D?
What? First of all,
excuse me.
Segue. Can we like take a moment and talk about your segue, which doesn't make any sense?
It doesn't, but it's fun.
When I'm trying to get to a point, there's not always going to be a layup.
All right, no, that's fair. That's fair. As long as we admit that. Okay, so the mouse can play Wolfenstein.
Well, I was surprised. The Super Nintendo, NES mouse, I thought was largely a Mario Paint machine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
I was surprised to learn it can play over 60 different games. There are people that played Wolfenstein on the Super Nintendo with a mouse.
Relatively.
Is that like playing Dark Souls with a DDR pad, though?
Yeah, I don't know. Like on piano, it's just like, I don't
Playing
know.
Celeste with a DDR pad.
There you go. Yes.
I saw a speed run of that. It was pretty impressive.
I believe that.
I really enjoyed Mario Paint. I don't know if you guys played it back in the day.
I've watched videos of it.
You were like 2.
I've watched videos of it,
okay.
Which is what I was saying. I never said I played.
Me and my buddies, or I should say, I knew some people who would just try to make pornographic animations constantly in this thing.
I've heard a lot of people who were
3 frames of animation. It was like a Tiger LCD toy.
It's the same thing with the Game Boy camera, where you could take a certain amount of pictures and you can do a slideshow and you can boost the speed of the slideshow. So you could essentially make little movies on the Game Boy.
Ooh.
Very interesting. And I know secondhand from a lot of, because I listen to a lot of people talk about animation. I'm getting back into that.
And porn.
But what they were saying is that one of the first tools that they used early on in their life that got them into the idea that they could actually do it was this. It was Mario Paint.
Mario Paint, yeah.
It's had a straightforward like music creation machine too, which is really great.
I was going to say that. I really like that too because Nintendo Power they would show you, like, they would have templates of how to make the Mario theme, with a separate bass line and with melody, and it was really cool.
And then you could hot swap all the samples. So like you could take like the musical samples, have the same arrangement, but then hot swap them for all like the sound effects and get like the
exactly
meows and stuff.
Yeah. In high school, my wife had. Well, she wasn't my wife in high school. She was just my girlfriend in high school.
Well,
but
my sister wife.
My girlfriend, who is now my wife, had that, and we would spend hours just like not even making songs, just like it's basically just having the baby over and over again, just making the weird like sound collages.
Yep. Or like
great time.
The first time I ever made the actual Meow Mix theme with the cat. I mean, I think everybody had to do that. So meow 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 meow.
It was a really interesting experiment in like a game that's not a game, like a piece of software for your SNES, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But fuck that mouse pad.
Yeah, that mouse pad wasn't hot.
Big hunk of piece of Tupperware.
I saw Hyperkin release like a new version of the mouse, which looks pretty sleek and is a little more weighty and kind of ready for that very small percentage of people that still want to play Super Nintendo mouse games, but. Now, some people, I think, were inspired to make music from Mario Paint. I don't know if there's many people inspired to be photographers from the Game Boy camera, though.
Nope, untrue.
Shut down.
Heard it here.
I'm sorry.
Verified.
Shut down.
As someone who would consistently borrow my friend's Game Boy camera, the one friend I had, I would always be playing with that thing. There was never a point where I wasn't like, dude, it's like on my Game Boy Color. I'd like show it to people and my mom would be like, I don't fucking care, Dylan. Just like I don't care which starter Pokemon you picked. But you could do a lot of crazy stuff with it. There
what
was
could you
a lot
do?
of
Outside of the printer that came later?
That printer was pretty wonky too. It's cool, but
it's cool.
What could you do with the camera?
You could take a certain amount of pictures. It held maybe 60.
There you go.
It also had a lot of game functionality, which I don't think a lot of people realized.
Yeah, you could like put yourself like it's like we need a template. So you take a picture of the template, which would mean like take a picture of your face. Now we make the face animate based in our game, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I don't know how that they were able to, like, certain games had Game Boy camera functionality. The Game Boy version of Little Nicky had a game with the Game Boy camera where you could rearrange the devil's face and print it out on the printer.
Like the Adam Sandler movie?
Yeah. I've heard the Little Nicky game is a weird mini game collection for the Game Boy. I would like to play it.
Yes, it is.
I thought you were making that up. Like,
No, there's a Little Nicky game.
Game Boy camera's fucking awesome.
Fucking awesome.
You could like print off passwords, images, like the trading card game for Pokemon. You could print out little versions of the cards on the printer paper. I had a Game Boy printer. Honestly, I think the printer came with probably 1 or 2 rolls of paper, and I don't remember us having to buy another roll of paper.
Well, there are people who have printed out a lot on that. There are even people I went to school with, because I went to art school. There was someone who actually did their senior thesis through Game Boy camera.
Really?
Oh, that is some hipster bullshit. I love it.
It's so hipster bullshit.
I love it.
Totally.
I want to go to a gallery that's all done on the Game Boy camera.
Honestly. Well, it's so that paper that you get, it's basically receipt paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all it is.
It's thermal.
Yeah.
It's a thermal print or whatever.
Which
paper.
makes it the cheapest paper known to man. So, but the fact that someone made this, it's also just like, I appreciated that it was like this whole object impermanence thing. I'm not going to get into it, but I actually really liked it because they took pictures of interesting things, and I'm like, oh shit, I should have thought of this. It's fine. Every dipshit teacher I've ever had would have loved this shit.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys remember for the Game Boy Advance, there was a game in which it had a thermal sensor.
Boktai.
The sun is in your head, right? And you actually had to go outside to like charge up your characters in game.
Fighting vampires.
That was a Kojima joint.
Was it real? Oh, that arty farty fuck! I love him.
I fucking love that dude to death.
I hate his games, but I love him.
He's the kind of guy that would make a master's thesis in a Game Boy fucking camera.
I'm actually playing Death Stranding right now, and one of the things I will say about Kojima at the end of the day is he makes fine games. He makes brilliant art.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's
100%.
how you have to see him. Otherwise, you're not looking at him correctly.
If I want to see Guillermo del Toro drinking Monster Energy, I need Death Stranding.
I don't think you actually get to see that, but yeah.
Only Norman Reedus drinks Monster Energy. Come on.
It's true.
Going back to the Boktai thing, they even made a sequel to that game, and it was on the DS, and so they wouldn't have the ability to like put the Solar Reader in there. Mm-hmm. But if you have the original Boktai cartridge, like the Game Boy cartridge, you can put that into the DS,
shit.
It would still be, and then the functionality would transfer to the sequel game.
I had no idea.
Which is
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it's like tricking kids to go outside so you can fight vampires better, which it's also logical.
Unless you live in Seattle.
Right.
Unless you're in Seattle.
I mean, as far as gimmicks go, we were talking about Mario Paint with the mouse. Apparently, the one developed for the N64, like the CD, the DD drive or whatever.
Yep.
Apparently, that had a really good program that went along with it.
Yes.
And apparently you could do a lot more stuff with that. It was more interactive. You could actually animate. You could do somewhere around 120, I think, frames of animation. Don't quote me on it. I don't know if I'm right.
I've seen some just videos. I think some people, there's some demos in the wild.
Right.
Or some prototypes in the wild. But
they had like 3D environments where you could put stuff into it and you could manipulate how it worked.
yeah.
I thought that aspect of it was very cool.
Can we talk about the e-reader, Brad?
Ooh, the e-reader.
Yeah, let's talk about the e-reader. I had an e-reader. I did have an e-reader. There's something, I don't know what it was about my childhood. My family would buy me the weirdest fucking shit. And then like
after it was discounted.
It was like part one. Yeah, that's like the 32X. They got me that. They're like, it's $10. Go ahead.
Here's a Virtual Boy.
You wanted a new system. I remember having an e-reader, and honestly, I had one pack of the Nintendo games because they're just like little cards you could swipe into your Game Boy that held like Nintendo games or Animal Crossing furniture.
Totally worth scanning 20 cards to play fucking Balloon Fight.
And the fact that you could get that off of a card, pretty sick.
I mean, it was pretty cool. I bought one right away. So.
I had one too. I recall the only reason I got it was for the original Animal Crossing. Yeah. Because I was at an age where I lost all my friends because suddenly none of my interests overlapped and I was suddenly the weird guy.
The coolest thing you could do with the e-reader cards is like you can get new levels for Mario Brothers, like scan those in. But I don't know. Maybe it was just Nintendo wanting to make more cards going back to their early days or something. I don't know. It was a bizarre thing.
What was the lifespan of that thing? Like how long did that last? Like
I'm
a year?
I'm going to say 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Long enough.
I think the part of it that really kind of hampered it was that if you didn't already have a connection to a Nintendo GameCube then too, there were some things you could do and some things you couldn't do. So it's the same reason nobody played Crystal Chronicles when it came out, Final Fantasy. It's literally
that game was good.
It's a wonderful game. Problem is even now you can't play it the way that it should have been played. You
need 4 friends with Game Boy Advances and link cables and stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You know what I was a big fan of? Like thinking of stuff like Mario Paint and thinking of the weird stuff is they had a Korg synthesizer for the Nintendo DS. Did you guys ever see that?
No, really.
It was another piece of software, but it was a cartridge. It was a cartridge by itself, and it turned your DS into a Korg synthesizer. You could program beats. You could it had a little piano that you could play with the stylus. It was a fully integrated musical instrument, officially licensed by Korg for the Nintendo DS. And I'm telling you, it was one of the most amazing pieces of musical software I have ever played around with.
No shit.
This looks amazing. The user interface and all this looks fantastic.
It had virtual patch cables. It was analog, I'm quoting, I don't know, you can't see. But you could patch the cables for the different waveforms. It was so beautiful. If you, for anyone who has seen Feeding Frenzy, the Red Letter Media movie, the song My Love Is in Love, right? For anyone who has seen that and heard the song "My Love Is in Love," which is the song that I wrote for that movie, the music.
That was you. Oh, wow,
yes.
That's so cool! Great work.
And so Jay told me he needed a song about love and he needed it tomorrow. So I wrote the music on the Korg. That beat and music is on the Korg synthesizer.
Dude, that's
for
great,
the DS.
man. I had no idea this thing existed. So
it's a beautiful piece of software. I wonder if they made a Switch version. It's so cool.
you're going to send me down an internet hole on this thing. So
6-track, 16-step sequencer with delay, chorus, and flanger sound effects available from a mixing board. Two patchable dual oscillator analog synth simulators, the 4-part drum machine. There's a lot of words there that I'm familiar with some of them.
right on. Yeah.
Some of them.
No, this looks great. The DS had a lot of weird stuff. I also remember their little Guitar Hero attachment, which yes, I've only played once, but I'm it's better than it should.
It's one of those strengths. Grip strengtheners,
Or if you lose again on Through the Fire and Flames, you can just break your DS.
Squeeze it, crush you.
Mm-hmm. Here is a little selection from Jack Packard's own creation on the Korg synthesizer. Here is My Love Is in Love from Feeding Frenzy.
My love is hot, your love is lovely. My love is hot, your love is lovely, and I love you. Your love is cool, my love is lovely. Your love is cool, my love is lovely, and I love you. We are so in love, our love is in love. Love is in the atmosphere. We are so in love that the animals around us love our love, and when they love and when we love.
Speaking of musical products that the Nintendo had, how about Donkey Konga?
Fuck yeah.
I was a big DDR kid, and I thought, fuck yeah. I play Guitar Hero, I can do DDR. These bongos are my natural progression. And I remember day one, going through the hardest level, and the shit was so easy. 1, 2, you could hit them both or clap. That was the whole game. Plus, they didn't have licensed music, which was really bad.
They did.
No, they had knockoff
No,
music.
they had
Brad.
all the boom, boom, small things. Clap. True care, but the true things clap.
And it sounded that good.
Wow.
Honestly, truly, I'm doing a. 1
Can we
for
not
1.
play a clip of that on the podcast?
Whatever.
All the small things, true care, truth brings.
They had 3 Donkey Konga games, but then they also did Jungle Beat, which I never played, which I heard was actually okay.
That one's actually quite good.
It's no Samba de Amigo, but whatever.
Okay, so my name is Brad, and I own 3 Amiibos.
My name is Tom. I own more than Brad, less than you.
How many do you own? We're counting them.
I don't know. I have the first 1.5 runs.
You kind of do. You're missing a few.
I have
First run.
I have all of the first ones.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, then I almost have all the first run then too.
Okay.
I own
Then I got the fuck out of that nonsense.
87 Amiibos.
That is a lot of amiibos.
That's quite a few Amiibos.
And a bitch ain't one.
Because what is that like? What do they sell generally? $10 a pop?
I don't
something
want
like that?
No, I don't want to even think about how much money I spent on it. I calculated it once. It was like $770. I'm not interested in going back. I don't need to know. I don't need to know.
I own 5 amiibos.
Which ones do you own?
I own Solaire of Astora, which is my favorite amiibo, obviously.
Oh,
Awesome.
I was looking for that one, could never find it.
Oh, right. It took me a while to find. I have the Pikmin one, the Olimar.
Oh, it's very cute.
Zero Suit Samus, regular Samus, and the Metroids in the broken container.
And I actually lied earlier. I have 4 amiibos. I forgot I also have the Super Mario cereal amiibo. I own the cereal box.
Oh, it does count. Yes.
That barely
you can
matters.
scan it.
Who gives a shit?
I just think these are cool.
No, they're sick as hell.
And she doesn't have the pea-colored column like Link did.
Yeah, that's...
Pea-colored column. You use that phrase more than you should.
Sorry.
No, honestly.
It's my band name.
That was like I was early on, I was an amiibo hunter. Right now I own amiibos, even outside, because I take my toys out of their box. I still...
Tom's are all in the box still. That's why that's a drive.
You guys
there.
lay off, all right?
So I can use them.
Yeah.
But like even outside of the box, a lot of the amiibos I have are, even the ones, well, yours are going to be worth more, but I had fun with mine. So.
He did.
Value levels. I loved just kind of wandering around to Toys R Us and being like, oh, it's that one. And then I would take it and I would buy it and it would feel pretty good. It was this fun kind of collect-a-thon, real world situation thing.
Yeah. I mean, even though I don't have a lot, like I was pretty intense about it at the beginning, to the point where I would travel for work, but I would send my girlfriend at the time, like when I knew like a new batch was going to drop, like on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, when you're sending your girlfriend to Toys R Us on a Tuesday morning, it might be more
worse,
than a hobby.
I sent her to a GameStop, and that's probably why she broke up with me.
Yeah, it was it the like...
Oh, that was pre-Kate. Okay.
Yeah.
Kate would be fine.
Turns out, yeah, girls and amiibos.
I think that's the lesson here: is find someone who will go get amiibos for you.
Absolutely.
Actually,
You know,
truth.
like it's about common interests. Or it's just about like, oh, I know this is important to you, so I'm willing to help you. Like that's absolutely true.
You know what's funny?
Honey, I'm getting a legless Princess Peach sent here from Japan that I paid $200 for. Can you just bring the box in immediately?
Well, then you have to have it's about shared household responsibilities. I think like anything over $100, you got to have a conversation about.
That's a conversation for sure.
Wow.
Which is like, this is important to me, and then you have that conversation.
Can you imagine getting a divorce and having to split up the amiibos? Who gets what?
Like the Beanie Baby
I've-
divorces? Do you
Oh,
remember that?
there you go.
The Beanie Baby
Do you remember
divorces.
that?
Where is Tabasco gonna go?
No, and like
I'm just thinking about the bull. He's a big red bull. Who everyone loves him. Where's he gonna go?
where's he gonna go? Amiibos are like interesting things because they're fun figures, and like just as having a little figure is a neat thing. It also has in-game functionality. I've never understood why they exist, but like I'm not a person who has a ton of baubles.
Yeah.
In general. But like, people who collect like what are the heads? What are the big head things?
Oh,
What are they
Funko
called?
Pops. Yeah.
Yeah, like people really like collecting stuff like this. So that's not for me.
To be clear, the original Amiibos were basically built for Smash Brothers for the Wii U and the 3DS. So they were the actual shapes of the trophies in the game, which made them their own collectibles. Now, the difference between that and Funko Pops is that they don't look like shit.
By the way, I totally agree with you. Funko Pops look like garbage.
I think Funko Pops are the garbage. There's going to be a whole island
They're
of
garbage.
made of Funko Pops in the
Yes.
Atlantic Ocean.
And that's where we're going to send our criminals.
Yeah.
Just to live on Funko
The new
Island.
Alcatraz. Just build on Funkos.
They have to mine.
Funkatraz.
They have to mine something of worth from the giant Funko Pop boulders.
Yes.
I like that. Let's do that. That's cool.
Let's do.
And at least Amiibos had functionality, like you guys are
Yeah.
saying. Like, not all of it's great, but I remember in Smash Brothers, I bought the Pikachu for Smash Brothers, and you can like make your own Pikachu character and train him And I'm like, this is stupid. I'm just playing like with a CPU that's a little customized, and I need to have an amiibo. Some people are into it. I remember being a little disheartened, but things like Breath of the Wild was cool. You could get like instant items or things with your amiibos,
or like the suits, the costumes.
Yeah, costumes were important. Yeah.
Always are important.
I love playing dress up. I just do, and I'm not going to be ashamed of that, even in video games.
No, you never should, buddy. I agree with you totally and completely.
We're here for you, Jack.
I really appreciate all the positivity that's happening here and wellness.
If you're not going to look good, why do it?
Now, I remember one time my brother told me, I'm going to lose 30 pounds on the Wii balance board this summer. I promise you. He gave up on that shit pretty quick, but the Wii balance board was a pretty, I don't know, the whole Wii was an experiment in functionality.
That balance board, that was some hot shit for a while. That was in demand.
Huge.
Yes, I was hot on that. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's one of those things that was hot for a second, but I don't think who uses their balance board anymore.
I did.
Oh, fuck, man. We did every day for years. We would play the games. My wife and I, my wife who at the time was my wife. Oh yeah, we would do like the little exercise games. Watch the little chart tracker. Love that shit.
You did.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
It actually did improve my balance. I'm going to be completely honest with you. It actually saved my feet on several occasions because it does teach you where you're supposed to put your pressure.
Okay.
Another thing I really loved is that it had functionality with Super Punch Out.
Oh, fuck, you're right.
And I lost my freshman 15 so goddamn quick playing this.
We had to beat Soda Popinski,
I only got to Glass Joe. I'm really bad at it.
You tried though. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I loved the balance board. I just think that it didn't have enough. They were never going to make anything more because it didn't sell enough. I think in Japan it sold quite a bit, but they realized that any software they made for it was immediately just going to sell so much less.
Yeah. I thought there were like different waves. I know they sold it initially with a group of mini games, and then
that comes pre-packed with it.
Okay, yeah, and then
I bet there's a lot more Wii balance board games than we're aware of.
There are.
You think there?
Because I
there
remember
are some snowboarding games. Stuff like that.
And they rolled it out again and like packed it with like a dance or a yoga game or something, or maybe
Just Dance probably. I'm going to imagine at some point had some compatibility. I don't know for sure though.
I think we run into very similar problems that we get into with like VR type games, right? Where it's like if you're asking a player in VR to do this for 30 minutes, you can't, right? No. And so it's a similar situation with the balance board where you just can't play it for extended periods.
Sometimes it's just standing. Yeah.
So that's like.
I wish I was kidding. Like, yeah.
No, but
exactly.
With good games like Half-Life Alyx, I felt actually like it was worth it to be standing and that I could control things with it.
But I still haven't finished it because I'm like, do I want?
Yeah.
Even though it is an amazing experience.
So we're talking about the PlayStation VR in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we shouldn't get too into it.
Well,
I know.
I'm just gonna say, talking about strange peripherals. I saw somebody was selling on Amazon. You could attach your PlayStation Move controllers to like a stick, and then you had to play Beat Saber like Darth Maul.
Okay.
Oh God.
And all the reviews were like, this doesn't work. This is really bad. But I just like the idea that someone's like, we got to try it. I was pretty excited about that.
I'm selling a stick. That's what someone said. I'm going to sell this stick. Yeah.
Do you want the special stick?
Nintendo also decided at some point in 2018 to just sell a bunch of cardboard.
Oh, I like Labo. I think it's interesting at least.
I think it's cute and really cool, but it's also like, it's a little baffling.
Hold on. Now this wasn't made for us. This was made for children. Let's first of all.
But you said you liked it.
I think it's cool. I still think it's cool. I've never owned a Labo. I think it's cool.
It's cool because it's tactile. It's creating something, which is like a Lego set.
Killing trees.
It encourages like STEM learning, like programming. These are things that aren't being taught in our schools. Like these are the next people who are going to make our games when we're in retirement homes. Why don't we just give them a little bit of boost?
Like the next fishing rod was made by somebody who made the Labo fishing rod.
Exactly.
Kids didn't like it. Is what I'll tell you. As someone who has kids and got the Labo, really excited for them to play with it. They thought it was dumb. They thought it was super dumb.
Which sets did you get or set?
I got the one with the piano.
Yeah, that's the one I was kind of interested in. But
did it work?
Yeah, it worked fine. Like, this thing with the Labo was trying to sell. I have it plugged in here.
Yeah.
The thing with the Labo, it was trying to sell this bullshit because no one ever uses it. The Switch controllers have really great accelerometers, but then they also have this IR reader, right? And Labo was trying to be like, we put this on here. We gotta use it.
Yep.
And so it was just trying to shoehorn in all these stupid features that they shoved into our controllers. So that's all Labo was trying to do, was justify some executive's decision to be like, no, motion controls are still going to be a big deal.
We have all this cardboard laying around.
And let's do something. I just bought this cardboard company.
We've been ordering a lot of Amazon lately. We have to do something with
Wasn't
this.
there... So, didn't they make what they said it was, quote, like a radio-controlled car, but it just had like little cardboard like legs and would just vibrate or some shit?
There was a robot kit, there was a vehicle kit, there was a variety kit, and then they also made a VR kit, which it's like, PlayStation's got VR for $350. Here's a $30 cardboard.
There you go. Play Dactyl Nightmare.
Well, I mean, yeah,
it works though to an extent.
It does.
I don't know.
Apparently, I've never played it, and I don't know. I like that they tried, and I liked that they tried something new. This is what I like about toys, though. I've always been obsessed with toys since I was a child. But the idea that they were trying something different, pairing it with video games, it's still genius. Because the most that any other company has done is they've made other NFC reader toys that you just scan in. We're even talking as far as Starlink Battle for Atlas. Don't get this confused with Elon Musk's Starlink.
Or Skylanders.
Don't worry.
Exactly. But I still think at the same point, it's still cool. The bubble only burst because they flooded it.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with the fact that people weren't interested.
I think price point too,
Yes.
they were pretty high.
Well,
pretty
yeah.
steep when they first released, at least.
Especially with Skylanders, they made so many of these figures, and there's no average American family that can afford that amount of content for their child. Like, maybe there's some rich fucker somewhere who has every single...
And then you had all the competitors, right?
Yeah.
Like Disney, it was like, what was it? Disney Infinity.
Yep.
And then the Lego...
the Dimensions?
The Lego...
Dimensions.
Thank you. Which we got because our kids are Lego nuts.
Yeah.
But which, by the way, is awesome. You build a little thing, you put it on the scanner. Oh, yeah. It's super neat. But then you have all this competition. So then, if you tell grandma, like, oh, it's Jimmy's birthday, get him a Starlink or get him what? Grandma's not going to know what that is.
No. Why would she?
Nope. She can get the big grabby hand.
She's gotta get my cigarettes. Oh, I got it.
It's cool because it's like an extension of your arms.
Play with this.
Jack, do you find that your kids like to use a lot of your old like weird video game stuff?
No, they do not care about any video game they like watching me play video games. Like they'll watch me play like Dark Souls all day, and then they'll go build Dark Souls monsters with their Legos.
Oh,
They
that's
love
so
that.
sick! Your kids are gonna grow up so good.
I'm knock on wood. But when they get to play, they have like a slew of iPad games that's all they care about. They don't care about controllers. They don't want to play big games. They just like, no, I got my iPad game. I'm fine.
That makes me hurt.
Yeah.
It's whatever they like.
They will evolve into their own kind of gamer, and
Exactly.
There's room for all of it. And
I try very hard not to push because I do I want to push and be like, oh no, please play this game, but like if you push, then they rebel.
I don't want to be that guy who's like forcing my nephew to play an NES when he's very happy playing his iPad game, which if he likes Elmo more, I support Elmo as well.
Well, I mean, I support Elmo.
I do not.
Yeah, Nintendo does a lot of like making their toys that they play with their games. This is when they came out recently, which Mario Kart Live.
Yeah.
Jack, have you messed around with this at all?
No. That was weird for me. That was weird.
What are you talking about? A little camera attached to Luigi?
Do you have hardwood floors, Jack?
No, not a ton.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the reason why I didn't buy one either, is because these things need hardwood floors. However, I have played with them. They're fucking fantastic. How did your nieces and nephews respond to them, Brad?
Well, they went crazy for it. The fact that you can just hook up to the TV and then just see around your house, just driving the car under a couch or around your cats and seeing them blown up on a big TV.
Yeah.
They give you the cardboard like 1, 2, 3, 4 to make the course. I've done that 2 or 3 times. Mostly, I just hook the camera up and just drive around, and that's all I need.
Yeah.
It's great because the cats will respond differently to it. And I did one day when I knew my fiance would be gone for a long time, set up a giant course in the whole house with like DVDs and Blu-rays and toys everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was great. And then I had to like spend 45 minutes putting all of my toys back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's the
I
problem.
saw-
Clean
As
up.
long as you had fun, that's what.
Exactly.
It was a lot of fun. And it's a great piece of technology. Every kid, since they saw Home Alone 3, has wanted a camera on an RC car.
Yeah, I mean, and when you do actually play the game, it does some cool things.
The AR is
You actually feel the boost. Like it will actually boost and go faster if you hit the mushroom. You get certain power-ups that will make your car veer, or if the track has wind, it's all AR. Your car will veer, as you're driving. So you got to kind of fight the
Mirror mode, having like everything backwards in your house is like watching Are You Afraid of the Dark or something. It's real trippy.
It's crazy.
Twilight Zone.
Yep. Don't do it on that.
And well, there was one item in particular that inspired this whole episode, and Dylan has recently sunk over $20,000 into it.
I'm an absolute.
For one figurine.
I have no.
Yeah.
Well, it's mostly.
I don't know how much have you put into it, Dylan?
How much have I put into it? Less.
Lego Super Mario.
Less than 200. Let's put it out there.
Quarts of blood.
I did buy Lego Mario because, God damn it, was it charming as hell. I love him. I call him my best friend. His name is Mario. He's a Lego. I don't know if you've ever seen him before, but
My younger has a bunch of those sets. Yeah.
really, so you understand it. So I don't even have to demonstrate it.
You didn't wait till
That's
they came
great.
out with like a Dark Souls set?
Dark Souls Legos. Sign me up.
No, it's really neat. Like you can and when you get several of the Mario sets, you can actually build your own course, and then that Mario has a little scanner on the bottom.
Yep.
And no, my youngest loves doing that, like hopping, and then it makes all the noise. Actually, I have the.
The thing that he can't even do.
Dude, I've been trying to build that.
For those listening, the Nintendo Lego TV set. So he jumps around?
Yeah, and it's all analog. He has like a clear disc behind him, so he just like rubs up against. This is one of the most fun builds I have ever done. It's so cool. But this has a reader in it, so you can put that Lego Mario on top.
We're going to combine ours and do it sometime.
You have to. And then you cycle through, and it actually like jumps when this Mario jumps, and it like gets a coin when this Mario gets a coin.
that's
It's
awesome.
Super neat. It's super neat.
I'm actually in the middle. I've been in the middle of building that TV. I built the NES right away, but I've been trying to build the TV for the last 2 months. And it comes in like separate bags, right? So you can do the build in stages. My bag 10 is missing so many pieces.
No, it's not.
What?
I was on customer support. I'm about to change your life. I was on customer support with Lego Nintendo for a couple times because my bag 10 was also missing.
Yeah.
There is a second bag 10.
They're 2 bag 10s, bitch.
There's a second bag 10?
2 bag 10s, bitch.
And I know what you're saying. Why would there be 2 bag 10s? Why not a bag 10A and a bag 10B?
Jack.
It's because they don't care. There is a second bag 10, and there's another one. It's like bag 14. There's 2 bag 14s. It's coming up later.
What the fuck?
When I got my secured fortress.
That's amazing.
When I got my secured fortress set for this Mario,
Yeah.
there were 2 bag 7s.
Dude, I've sent away 4 separate times for 4 different pieces. And 2 weeks ago, I just said, fuck it. I called up Lego customer support. I'm like, I need all the pieces of Bake 10. So
I'm surprised Nintendo hasn't made a statement about that.
Yeah.
If both of you have had those issues, they should be like, yeah.
I talked to the customer service lady and I was like, hey, by the way, it's really confusing. And you know, she was just like, just look at all your bags. There's another bag 10. So there is another bag 10.
Honestly, she's kind of right.
Yeah.
No, she's also like, to her, she's like, I don't know, it's Legos.
up to that point, that did not have, like, whatever.
Also, like,
but thank you, Jack. My life has been changed.
No, and it took my kids to tell me that. They're like, Dad, there's another. Sometimes there's 2 bags with the same number, and I was like, why is there 2 bags with the same number?
That is actually quite confusing.
And I'm gonna go back a second to where Tom said he opened it right away and made the Nintendo part, which is a bold-faced lie. Tom does not open his toys right away, ever.
That's true.
Yes, I did wait.
Can you explain
5
to
months.
us your aversion to playing with toys and how that came about?
You're Will Ferrell in the Lego movie.
Playing with toys?
Yeah, you are Will Ferrell in the Lego movie.
Are you President Business?
You're president.
I am president of this, yes.
Dude. You're Captain Capitalism.
I just like to hoard things, guys.
But why?
I get no
Okay, so you
joy.
buy all these...
I get no joy from anything.
When I brought you a Cuphead toy from Arby's Happy Meal and you didn't make it into papercraft, that offended me.
No, I'm never going to do that because
Why would you not?
It's so nice in its little plastic
No, it's
bag.
not. It doesn't look good in plastic.
Cagney Carnation up on my shelf looks beautiful.
Okay, whatever. All right, Nintendo.
I'm just curious. I'm literally just curious because
Back off, man.
You fucker. I want to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to be your therapist right now. Why?
Because I never had money when I was a kid, Dylan. I never had toys, and now I have a little bit of spending dough, and now I just want to buy all this stuff that I can't.
But
that I don't want to play with.
What is the psychology behind preserving it? Do you think it's going to be worth something in the future, like people who collect comic books, or?
Maybe some of that, but really, no.
Is it just a compulsion?
I think it's a compulsion.
Tom's the kind of guy that buys like 4K versions of movies that he has never opened and will never open, but he's got a shelf full of them.
So, what I will say is sometimes I do like to keep boxes. Like I think box art is really fun. Like I want to say like up on the shelf there, like I have my Steam, like this blue box right here is the box for the Steam controller, which is an awful controller. But I love the box and I love having it there. And so it's like I do enjoy box art, so I can be with you there.
I have a hard time getting rid of just console boxes, even though I've sold the console. I no longer have the console. I still have the fucking box for it. And I display it like it's, like the idol in fucking Indiana Jones.
You like feeling like it's on the shelf, fresh for the picking.
Ooh, that's part of it, maybe.
Yep.
So we're nearing the end of our time here, Jack. I did have a question or two I wanted to ask you.
I'm ready.
You are, from what I understand, the first person that I know that has played the Google Stadia.
Yes.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
What are your thoughts on where the Stadia is right now? Do you see yourself playing more of it?
The Google Stadia is your internet browser, so let's make sure we're very clear on that.
Yes.
The Google Stadia controller sucks, and playing the Google Stadia on what's the casting device? The Google
The Chromecast.
The Chromecast sucks. But here's what I will say: is Google Stadia is the best idea that Google is eventually going to retire because it's Google.
It's getting close.
Yeah.
It's getting close. I have a very stable internet connection, and so when I play Google Stadia here on my nice gaming PC with my landline plugged in, it's smooth and it's great, and you don't have to download your game, and that's beautiful.
Wonderful.
Like, if you just want to play a game right now, you buy it on Stadia, and you can play it the second you click that button. That's beautiful. And modern games, the new Call of Duty is going to be 200 gigabytes. Is that the number we're at right now?
I've heard upwards of, it might go over 500. I think with this one in Warzone.
What fucking planet does that even deserve to exist?
And so if you have a stable internet connection, Stadia is a beautiful thing. There's obviously, caveat, which is if you don't have a stable internet connection, if you are only on Wi-Fi, it sucks. You are yet another step away from owning your games, but most of us buy our games on Steam, so we don't own our games anyway. Like a ton of caveats, but I'm actually a Stadia. I'm a bit of I will proselytize for Stadia. I will speak high praise. I've enjoyed my time with Stadia, even though it's kind of looking like it's going to end. But Amazon has Luma that's going to come out.
I noticed that Microsoft is going to be releasing a new version of Edge for the Series X that will be Stadia compatible, which is cool.
That's cool. Well, and Microsoft has Game Pass, right? Xbox Game Pass is another one of those things that's really neat. Monthly fee, you get games. If you could combine something like Game Pass with Stadia, there's Stadia Pro.
Yeah. Oh, Microsoft has xCloud. I know that's not really widespread kind of in use. I think it's still beta-ish, but that's kind of that concept. I'm contractually obligated to not talk shit about Stadia at the moment, so.
Stadia. He
works with Google sometimes.
He lets Brad and I do it.
I currently work for a company that makes Stadia, so
it starts with a G.
Well, like I said, my experience with it on my gaming PC, hardwired into the internet, has been fantastic.
Yeah. The
second I try to play it on my iPad or on my Chromecast, it's super turd city.
Yeah.
But I love the idea, and I think if we can make the more accessible we make gaming, the bigger the community gets, and the better it is for everyone.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm just sad that it doesn't work well unless you're like hardwired in, because as a guy who travels for work, when they first announced this thing, I was almost all in, because I'm like, great, right. I can just pack up the Google controller and go to the hotel and bring all my games with me and not have to do anything else. And then obviously it's a little bit of a pie in the sky.
No, so like I'm all down. I don't think it's working the greatest right now, and it's looking like they are abandoning ship, which Google unfortunately has a tendency to do with cool things. But I think they've planted some seeds that other companies are going to pick up. Other companies with more bandwidth, like Amazon, who now has all the money.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that it did offer was, once the pandemic hit and everyone was working remotely, like the game developers, they were saying, like, I think Bungie, they were able to test the expansions that they were developing for Destiny by using Google Stadia, or like their own private Google Stadia. They were able to make builds and QA test. And I'm like, that is, if there's no like public facing option for Stadia, I think that could actually help the game industry, because I think they're all going to be distributed for the foreseeable future, maybe just going forward.
I think, maybe they're just a little too early, but it's definitely where I think the future of games is kind of heading.
And as games get bigger and hard drive management, like playing the which game am I going to delete to download the new game game is always terrible. And so I'm a big believer in it, but I'm also realistic.
Did you play that Cyberpunk on the Stadia?
No, I'm waiting for the hype to die down, and I'm waiting for some patches before I play Cyberpunk.
I'm the only one in this group who's played it.
Yeah.
On the original Xbox One.
I played it on the original Xbox One, and I did it with no patches. Wow.
I'm sorry?
No, it was fun. I'm not going to lie. I had a good time.
Jack, I know you're a gamer who you play on many consoles, PC, and you do a lot of indie stuff. Is there any games you've been playing recently that you would highly recommend or people might not have heard of?
That people might not have heard of.
Because I know you play a lot of indie stuff too.
I do. Yes, I play a ton of indie stuff. You know what I'm about to dig into is they just did a huge bug fix update for the Legend of Bumbo game. I don't know if you guys played that when it came out.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Which is Edmund McMillan, who made Binding of Isaac.
Oh, yeah.
And was the designer of Super Meat Boy. It's a tile match deck building roguelike. It's very hard to explain, but it's a wonderful, simple little game that's based in the Isaac universe. It came out about a year ago, and it was not ready to come out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but they just did a bunch of patches, so I'm going to play that. I always go back to For the Warp, which is a fantastic deck building roguelike. That's kind of my thing. What else have I been playing lately? For the Warp is great.
Check that out. I haven't played many of the deck building, and by many, I haven't played any.
Have you played Slay the Spire?
Slay the Spire
No,
is something I have tried to get these dumbasses to play.
I heard it's good. I heard it's good.
That's the one. If you're gonna play one, you got to play Slay the Spire because that is fantastic.
Jack, have you played Monster Train yet?
Monster Train? I play a lot of games. Hold on.
Jack, it's on Steam, and I promise you I've just changed your life.
Oh.
I have another buddy who I work with, and he just brought up Monster Train casually, and then Dylan and him talked for like an hour straight about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I recommend a video game, because I am probably the most
Smarter than anyone else.
I'm the biggest piece of shit, first of all, but I'm also the most critical on the podcast about video games, I feel.
Well, you're the one who likes to talk negatively about them the most anyways.
Critique involves positives and negatives. That's how you critique art. Sorry.
Well, when FF7 Remake came out, before you put it in, you're like, ooh, I'm going to hate it.
Oh, I knew I was, because other people told me, they were like, this is how this shit goes. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Then I played it. There are positives. So,
yeah,
there you go.
Let me ask you a question about Monster Train.
Yeah, go for it.
Is this a deck builder or a collectible card game?
It is a roguelike deck builder.
Well, is it a deck builder or a collectible card game is the question.
It is a deck builder. That's it.
Okay, so you start off every
you start
time
off at
you
almost zero. Everyone's got the same deck. You've got a set type number of cards. And then as you go,
but you can't like choose your deck before you go.
No, you can't. It's based off of factions of these underworld creatures that you do. So they're like Hellions. They're like
so you can like
Abyssians.
Customize your deck.
Essentially, but when you start out, based on what you choose, it's going to start the same. And as you go, it's going to get harder and harder. First of all, it starts out super easy. But as you go, it's going to get harder and harder. And then you're going to be able to choose cards based off of your battles, and that's going to help you build your deck. And it works in a very specific way where it is almost a tower defense card deck builder. And I believe it's $25 right now on Steam.
$25 on Steam.
If you bought it tonight and you didn't like it, I would Venmo you the money. I'm not fucking kidding.
You've heard it here. We're recording, so this is binding.
I will not take that. Is it on Switch? I'd play it on Switch.
There is going to be a port of it to the Switch, from my understanding. However, right now it is purely Steam. This was my second favorite game of last year.
I need a new Switch game. I need to lay in bed and play on the Switch game. Ooh, okay. Well, I'll add this to my list. I'll do a little work in it because I am a particular kind of bitch. I'll be honest with you.
and if you understood me based on our conversations, I am also a particular bitch.
The most particular bitch.
I am the most particular bitch. If I'm recommending a video game to you, usually it's pretty fucking good. Ask Brad.
I resisted Dylan's recommendations for a long, long time. And then I played Bloodborne, and then I played Nier Automata, and they were two of my favorite games of all time. And I had to admit, Dylan is actually right about everything.
I just, I think it's important to have a healthy ego. And so congratulations.
It's the only thing in my life I get to be right about. So I'm going to have to dive into
Welcome
it.
to Raw
love
Dogs.
Yeah.
I just love it. Like when I recommend something, it means something.
Unfortunately, he's right though. He's right. Unfortunately, like his ego is perfectly it's accurate that time.
No,
but-
it's
I can
fine.
barely
It's all right.
I can barely wipe my own butt, so I
He
mean,
did
get
say
that
like
on there.
Labo.
and on that note,
Today's sponsor is a bidet. Is that the note? Because you should. You
Yeah.
should
we can't get
one.
into the
It
bidet
saves-
talk yet. That'll be
saves
for the
paper.
Patreon stuff afterwards.
Don't use flushable wipes. They're not flushable. Don't do it.
That's what they say.
It's a lie.
It's a lie. It's a lie.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jack. Very happy and honored to be talking with you because, like I said, I have been a fan of yours for a long time. So
Absolutely.
we appreciate it. And
Thanks, Jack.
Your content's always amazing and fantastic.
Well, and thank you guys for having me on. This was wonderful. I was very excited to learn about Gunpei Yokoi, apparently the inventor of the D-pad. This is gonna fuel my next Google hole for the next couple of nights. So that's great.
Yeah.
That's what Dylan calls his place too, the D-pad.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
Nice.
baby.
Nice.
Yeah.
because of penises? Is it because of penises?
Or it's my
Goes
name.
four
I
ways.
don't know. Fuck.
Is it?
You know. I mean, play your
the
cards
penises.
right. Your Hanafuda cards.
There we go.
Jack, if our fans wanted to reach out or like find you or check out some of what you've been doing, where could they do that?
I'm usually pretty active over on the Twitter. You can follow me at Harlack, HARLACK. I'm over at escapistmagazine.com. I have a few shows over there, and we live stream pretty darn often. We're working on revamping the Escapist movie channels, which I do a live stream with a few other people every week talking about movies. Also, follow Darren Mooney, the guy that I do the movie podcast with, smartest man ever. He's great. You can see me talk about bad movies sometimes over at redlettermedia.com, though you will see me there less often because there is a global pandemic and we're not trying to get together as often. Sure. When the world opens back up, you can see me at Comedy Sports Milwaukee, but that'll be like in the summer maybe. So.
Are you at the? Would you be at the Walker's Point location by any chance?
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the
then,
location.
We'll come see you for sure.
Will
as soon
we
as it opens
have?
back
Will
up.
we have to? I literally live.
We're like right
5
across the
blocks
street,
away,
so
It's a
but,
fantastic place.
No, yeah, I'm excited to see what you do, man. I love your stuff.
And this has been Raw Dogs. Thanks for joining us. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. We are Hair of the Dogcast. We are on Twitter at Hot Dogcast. We'll be talking about the PlayStation VR for the next Raw Dogs episode. And Jack, we would love to have you back. In July, we're doing Indie Games Month, and we'd like to have you on for an episode then if you'd like to join us.
Absolutely. I could talk indie games all day.
Me too, bud. Me too.
For anybody who'd like to have some more our Jack Packard discussion, he did stick around for another 30-minute interview with Doggies After Dark. That'll be a Patreon exclusive episode. We talk a lot about Red Letter Media and Escapist Magazine and other indie game shenanigans. So if you want access to that interview, just check us out on Patreon. It's like $3 and it's definitely worth your time in my humble opinion. So this has been Raw Dogs, and, play with your toys. Take them out of the boxes.
don't do it.
Honestly, do it.
Keep them nice. Sell them later. Your kids will
Everything
think-
dies. Everything dies in the end. Just do it.
Wow, that was dark.
And my message will be, I'm not here to yuck your yum, and you do you with your toys. You bought them, you get to do with them whatever you want.
Yeah, and just remember, there are 2 Big Tens.